Welcome to Doing the Most, the series where we talk about the misadventures of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Georgie, execution strategist and serial entrepreneur. This series is here to get real about what entrepreneurial life truly looks like. We are driven, persistent, hardworking, ambitious. We are human, and these are our stories. Welcome back to Doing the Most, the misadventures of entrepreneurship. Today, our amazing guest is Danielle Johnson. She's going to tell us a little bit about who she is. Danielle, say hello to the folks.
Hi, guys. How are you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, so Danielle, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your career as a mom, media personality, and a CEO.
So I am a mother of a 7-year-old ambitious boy. He's been diagnosed with ADHD, so you can imagine that our life is pretty fun. Let's just say it's fun and exciting and full of energy. But he's a great kid, 7 years old, in school, doing pretty well. I'm also a media personality in the city of Boston, in the state of Massachusetts. Here I do a morning show, a radio morning show on the channel Big City 88.5 FM. I also have a podcast called Henny and Hot Wings, where we talk about love, sex, and relationships, unfiltered, unorthodox conversation. And I am in the building. That's all under the company of So Saucy Entertainment. I also do event hosting in and around the city, internationally and nationally. And I also just started a new company, and that is not ready to be launched yet, but it is going to be a women's apparel company and lifestyle brand that I'm really excited about that will be hitting the streets September 2019.
Nice. Congrats about that.
Doing the most.
Yes, doing the most. Very, very busy lady. So what got you started in media and entertainment? Why was that your field of choice?
My whole life I wanted to be a nurse. And up until college, I entered into school. I went for nursing, and then I failed out of my nursing classes. So then up against the wall, I was trying to figure out what I can do next. I got accepted into the communications program. And then from there, I started working with people on, public speaking, interpersonal relationships, group settings. And I started to thrive. My GPA went up. I was doing a lot of acting and speaking out in public. And from there, I just like to talk, and I'm always talking. So we decided that we were going to do somebody suggested to me that maybe I should do radio. So I started off in a little community radio station with CDs and getting my friends to come in and interview with me. And then I got accepted as an internship to an upcoming radio station called Hot 97, where I started working under one of the DJs. And then from there, kind of just grew myself into my own radio personality. And from there, I just never stopped. Just been in love with it ever since.
Wow, that is amazing. And it just, it's crazy how these things kind of happen, right? We don't expect to be somewhere. And then once we get into that field, it's just like, I'm here and I am here to stay.
Yeah, exactly. I should have been here. This is where I should have been here all my life. So it worked out really well. I don't ever stop talking. So and I have like a very witty and fast personality. It's very fun. So it connects with a lot of people. We talk about a lot of community issues and different things. So it resonates with the people that I grew up with and the people that watch me every day or tune in and listen to the radio station. So it's a really, really fun being in the entertainment business, but it comes with its disadvantages and its hurdles.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Like I know there's a lot of pros in media and entertainment, specifically radio, but I know for a fact, women in radio is not a huge sector. There's not many women in radio. We have, Angela Yee, Angie Martinez. We have And that's unfortunate. Like, that's literally, I know there's a few more on different radio
It's
stations,
like
but
Wendy
that's as far as,
Williams.
Wendy
Yeah.
Williams. So it's like,
Yeah.
the list is very limited, and it's only the folks that are at the top that people talk about. But can you talk a little bit about that? Have you ever experienced any craziness in terms of that aspect of being a woman in radio?
Working in a male-dominated industry, and I know we hear it a lot, but media is one of those male-dominated industries where it almost seems like in order to get in or to be somebody, you've really got to either be up there ranking with the top men in the industry, and you're working with them like the Angela Yees and and people like them, or that you're smaller time and you're getting your shine whenever you can. But it is tough. It's tough because there's a lot of male-splaining or mansplaining. There's a lot of, trying to make yourself bigger so that you can match up with them, making sure that your personality is big enough but not too much where they want to call you a man or call you a B or one of those things. But you have to be assertive. You have to be strong. You pretty much have to have a thick skin in order to get to places, because you just going in there explaining, hey, I'm good, whatever. There's 1,000 men going for that same job and just little old you. So it's very tough to kind of just remain assertive and remain positive. And sometimes you see people advancing, very quicker than you, and you're like, but you can't really, you can't even look at other people. You got to kind of get into your own zone and be in your own place and stand in your own light. And just, if they don't give it to you, then you have to find a plan B to give it to yourself. Like, by any means necessary, you'll go there other than what people think that you are supposed to do. So no sleeping around and no doing something strange for some change. You really have to kind of, just stand on your own 2 feet and work your butt off. Like, you really got to put your back into it and work your behind off, because it's not easy for us.
Nice. And I love that. And, and just being consistent and present and showing up, right? Showing that,
Absolutely.
I belong here. Like, don't think because of whatever preconceived notions or stereotypes you might have in your head that I don't belong here. Like, hey, I belong here, and I'm not going to do anything crazy.
And I'm not moving. Yep.
Like, you ain't
can't
have
talk
to do
me
that.
however you want to. Yeah.
You can't, exactly. You can't talk to me just and degrade me. I put in the work to get where I'm at. You put in the work to get where you're at, and I'm going to keep on putting in the work.
Stay here. Yep, exactly.
Yep. So now I want to shift gears to another role that you mentioned having, which is being a mom to your 7-year-old. Could we talk a little bit about that dynamic of being a mom as well as an entrepreneur as well as in media? Like, how does the mom title kind of fit in, and what has your experience been as like a mom in general?
So yeah, being a mom. So a lot of people say that it's the most rewarding thing and it's wonderful. I have a little bit of different feelings. It is fun. I'm not going to, lie about that. It's fun. It's great being able to raise a little baby human from the ground up, but it is challenging because before anything else, you are a mom and your child comes first. And that can sometimes interfere with other things going on. So like if I said, I do a lot of event hosting and emceeing for weddings, nightclubs, hair shows, paint nights, anything that you can think about. And, like it's oftentimes trying to get a sitter, or sometimes I'm booked up back-to-back weekends. So it's not like I get a lot of time to spend with him. So it's challenging having that guilt on your heart that, oh my God, I'm not there for my child every single moment, but you know that what you're doing is working up to setting up a legacy and setting up things for your child to be able to look back on and to not have to go through things that other kids go through. Like you're setting them up, you're getting their financial wealth portfolios done, you are adding more income to your own self so that you guys can do more fun things later on, like take vacations. So it's almost like there's really no balance between parenthood and being an entrepreneur. It's sometimes your business is going to suffer. Sometimes sometimes you're going to feel like your child is suffering. But as long as you are there for those most important meetings, you are there for your doctor's appointments and for your school meetings, and you are there to tuck them in at night, even if you have to be out right after. Like those little things, I think that count, or that's what I go on. I'm hoping that they count in the long run. So he's not like, my mom is out. And when I'm not working, I am literally home with him sitting on my lap at 7 years old, or on my back, or forcing me to watch silly random cartoons with. So, like it's very challenging, but it can be done. I don't want anybody to discourage anybody. It definitely can be done.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that feedback. Because as a mom myself, there is times I'm at events or programs or have to do something, and it's like, the kids are in the corner. I'm doing a podcast.
Yes.
One is on my lap. I'm, host. I'm
Go in your room.
doing an interview. I'm breastfeeding.
Yes.
Like it gets crazy. It gets real out here in these streets, and especially when it's like your work is so demanding, and especially when you're in a male-dominated industry, those two things make it even more difficult, because your coworkers, competitors, even clients, they don't have that same kind of experience, because in most situations, it is the mom that has to kind of do the dual roles. Dads are allowed to go to work if mom is at an event. Where's your kid? No one asks a dad, where's your kid, when you're at an event or at a function. Like, they are alive. There are other humans that I, have trusted with my child's life. Can I enjoy the event? Or are you going to ask me, what did I eat for breakfast as well? Like, did you need to know more about my personal life?
That is so true. No, that is so true. Like, it gets to a point where you're just like, like, I'm just finally out the house. I'm trying to get everything together. My kid is fine. Let's focus on what we have to do. And you're right. Like, a lot of times, like, we are doing so many things with our kids that you end up, like, really doing a juggling act, being a master of all trades of, making sure that your child is good and making sure that you're still a professional at the end of the day. And you're not like, oh my God, my child is here. You have to bring them to events and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes I've had to do that myself. Like, all right, he's asked to come with me, and yep, that's mine, running around. Like, it's very tough, but like, we mothers, I feel, are superheroes, period. And I commend us for always finding a way to get it done. Like,
Absolutely.
It gets done. Yeah.
Yep. We're doing the most, but we make sure it gets done.
Exactly.
I want to shift the conversation a little now into your misadventures of entrepreneurship. So we've talked a little bit about in your industry, as well as with motherhood, but now on your entrepreneurial journey, you started to share with me your adventure of, or misadventure, we could call it, of going to the t-shirt warehouse with no experience. So can you tell us about that journey, and like, what was that all about? Was it, your first business? Was it something that you're working on now?
So so for my podcast, Honey and Hot Wings, I actually sell merch for it. And I do t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that. So I was like, one of my friends from down here, he has a t-shirt brand as well. So he was like, if you go to New York, there's a warehouse. You can go in there. Their t-shirts are cheap. All you have to do is bring them back, and then you get them printed, and you save a lot of money. So I was like, okay. He asked me, I was going for my job, so he asked me to go down for him since it was going to be my first time. And he gave me a really great list of everything that he wanted, colors, size, and everything. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. I should do that too, but I had no idea what it was going to be like. So when I went in, I was completely overwhelmed, because literally it is a t-shirt factory warehouse. In every corner, it's not big either. So in every corner, every shelf, everywhere you walk, there was t-shirts all over their place, packaged and ready to go. There are different people in there that probably have t-shirt brands themselves that, have their little list, and they're checking off. And I'm like, damn it, I don't have a list. So when it came time for me to do my order and for my job's order, because they do t-shirts too, and I was like, I'll just pick them up. It was difficult, because I didn't know what size everybody wears. I didn't know what size would sell automatically. These were male shirts. I usually work with women's shirts. So it was just a mess. Good thing that they had people in there that know where everything is. But then even when you get down there, like you're seeing all the different colors and you're seeing all the different, you know, brands and labels, and you're like, wait, maybe I should get some of those. But because you don't have a list, you're literally just kind of just, well, I need 2 of those and I'll take 17 of these and 14 of these. By the time I left there, I had spent over $500 and I was like, okay. And there's no return. So I still haven't opened the bags to see what I even purchased. So I have no idea what I did in that store. I just knew that I went in there. I got way too excited. I didn't have a plan, and it could have just been an epic fail. But that's just like entrepreneurial business. Like if you don't have a plan, like your business plan, or if you don't have some type of brainstorming, if you haven't thought about it or really put something together, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to die out very quickly because that energy cannot remain the same throughout. So that was just like a recent horror story of like, sheesh, this is a lot. I'm doing a lot. And next time I go, I'm definitely going to have a plan. That's it. Gotta have a plan.
And I definitely want to take away some, just kind of repeat something you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you weren't 100% sure, you knew enough that you could figure out the rest. So you took that leap of faith.
Yes.
The next thing that you did was that you went down there, you were asking questions, and you were figuring it out. You were digging deep and getting the details of what you needed. And 3, you made sure you learned from it, right? It could have said, okay, I give up. I don't want to do that anymore. But you said, no. This is just a lesson. It's a stepping stone, and it's going to help me.
We're going to get through it.
Exactly. You're going to get through it and then learn and engage and do more and do better in the future. So I really like that. Is, you know, some people are so easy, and some people make it so easy to give up. And sometimes it's just not really giving up. It's like you need to take a step back or slow down or say, hey, what did I learn from that? What could I have done better? Try to figure it out versus just, just throw it in the trash.
At that point, you know, you just kind of have, I got my phone out that day and I was just like, okay, let's try to make a plan now. So like you said, you do end up figuring it out, and you do force yourself to not make it a wasted experience. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to do. Every experience, whether it is good or bad or scary or horrible, same thing, you have to make it a learning experience and figure out next time that you do this, what can I do better? How can I make this process easier? How can I be easy on myself and give myself a better time doing this that was very hard the first time? And it's I feel like that's how I learn. Like I have to be thrown into the fire in order to be like, oh, this fire is very hot. It's very large. And next time, maybe I need to protect myself and not jump right in here. But some people are a glutton for punishment, and I was that day. But going forward, I know exactly what I need and what I need to do, and I'm already thinking ahead to the next time. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, that is definitely amazing. And now, to kind of just now dive into a final topic about your podcast. So could you tell us a little bit more about the podcast, who you feature, what's it all about?
So my podcast started about 2 years ago. And so I do radio, but I realized that I was very filtered. I was always working on other people's time. I couldn't really put the programs together the way that I wanted to put it together and still make it be something. So I wanted to do a podcast for a long time, couldn't find a name. And then one day, because I also do radio with teen girls with a program called Girls Radio, where we teach them how to be catalysts of change via broadcast media when it comes to radio, blogging, and YouTubing. So
nice.
So I was sitting there with the girls one day, and I was telling them I was wanting to start a podcast. They were like, "What do you like?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I like drinking Hennessy, and I love some chicken wings. I love buffalo wings." And they were like, something about Hennessy and hot wings. And I was like, "Oh, well, there it is." Just like that. So from there, it emerged as this little baby podcast that was doing, you know, I remember when I had like 5 listeners, I was so excited. And then it just started to grow, and it started to grow. I started to promote it on my radio show. I started to promote it on Facebook and Instagram and created a page for that. And it kind of grew into like this little culture of, every time I would have a guest, and my guests mostly consist of people that have big personalities that I know. So this is a lot of like friends and family and people that listen to the podcast from afar and are passing through town, or they really want to talk about a subject. So they'll hit me up and they're like, hey, Hot Sauce, do you want to come in? And I mean, I would love to be on your podcast. You were talking about something. It's really focused on love, sex, and relationships. And I'm a single mom, so I date a lot. And I have a lot of questions when it comes to male and female relationships. Why are there so many good women and so many good men complaining about there's no good women and good men if there's so many of us out there? And why is it so hard to kind of date and to communicate with each other? So from there, the podcast started to emerge. Our first episode was about internet dating. And then after that, it just became something that me and my best friend, who I call my wife, Joe Badu, we just started coming together every week and pressing record and inviting random people in there to talk about anything. And the show sometimes gets very, very out of order. It can be compared to like a Howard Stern or because we're very unfiltered and we talk about literally everything from masturbation to having periods to our last dates, or why men only love crazy women and things like that. So it gets sometimes very heated, but it is always unfiltered, uncensored, and very, very, it can get very vulgar.
But I think that's important, right? To keep it raw and just honest, and transparent, because a lot of outlets, and that's another reason why I created my own podcast that we're on right now, is because a lot of outlets kind of sugarcoat the journey, and we know in our regular day-to-day lives that it's not sugarcoated, it's not perfect, it's not filtered, it's reality. And I think the more we give that reality, that truth of it to people out there, the more realistic we make content. One, it'll resonate better. Two, it'll kind of get rid of all the fluff that's out there, because there's so much fluff. So so
much fluff.
Yeah, one and
like
two.
Parenthood almost.
Yeah, it totally is. Like, another, like, I'll just jump on and say, like, another parenthood myth. A lot of people are like, oh, having a newborn is going to be the hardest part. No, the baby stage is easy. Make them grow up. Once they get a little bit bigger than that, I'm like, leave me alone.
Once they start having an opinion and they want to talk to you and they don't stop talking, you're like, wow, this is insane. Nobody talks this much, ever.
Man, I you don't gotta tell me. I have a 7-year-old too myself, and we were watching a show recently, and he just talked the whole thing. I don't want to bore everybody with like or child lies, but y'all, major lesson. The babies, like ages 0 to maybe
2.
Not even
because
fully
at 3,
2.
they turn in teenagers, three-nagers. Yeah.
3-nagers. The 2s, I have a 23-month-old, and I say 23 months because I want to specify she's not just 1, she's about to be 2. So that's why people are like, oh, what happened to months? Like, no, she's about to be 2, but I don't want to say she's 2 yet, but I want to let people know. But her tude fully, like, was full blown. Like, her attitude was like at 13 months or like 12 months. I'm just like, okay, girl, get your own apartment.
You gotta go.
You gotta go.
You've got to go right now. And no, but it's true. Like, just like entrepreneurship, like it is the same thing. Like,
you're ready to quit every day
at first. At first you deal with a little sleep deprivation, and you're like, oh, I'll get through this. They'll grow up and whatever. But as they grow up, you're faced with a lot of different other problems that you kind of wish, like, wow, I can deal with the sleep deprivation and the research really early in this, because after this monster, takes a life of its own, whether it be children or your new business, because you kind of do treat them the same, right? Like, definitely. You treat them with the same kind of, like, you're nurturing them and you're paying attention and you're so focused on this new baby or this new business venture that you really don't have time for everything else, because you're excited at the same time, but you're exhausted and you want to see what's going to happen when they grow up, who this person or who this business is going to be once it grows up. And you're really interested, but at the same time, that journey between them being small and growing up, I mean, those are lessons upon lessons upon lessons. Every day it's a new lesson.
Yep. And it teaches you so much about yourself that you probably didn't even
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
That's what I realized having kids taught me about like who I was. Cause when they start imitating your personality and the things that you
Oh,
do, you're like, oh, I
oh, I
gotta
didn't know.
stop that.
Yeah, exactly. No, like, oh,
Oh
so I
no,
should
that
probably not do that again.
oh my,
So
yep.
true.
You're like,
Yeah.
can't be behaving that way.
Mm-mm,
Learn
I
that
gotta
from me.
calm that down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my exact same personality. Okay, let's change.
I was like, now I
And it would
understand
be
why
these
people can't
children that would
stand
teach.
me.
Exactly. Wow, I am annoying. I'm so glad that you're able to share that experience with me because a lot of people, like you said, they sugarcoat it. They put a lot of fluff on it to make it seem like it's this, this happy, breezy rainbow and unicorn and glitters. But, sometimes it's a little poop and, back talking and all kinds of stuff going on there. So,
And the poop and the back talking can happen at the same time, y'all.
At the same time,
Best
with no
believe
regard for anybody else but themselves. Crazy.
None.
Yeah.
We are interesting. And and guess what? We all got to start out like that.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. We all did it and our parents got through it, so we'll get through it. And CEOs before us got through it and we'll get through it too.
Awesome. And we're coming to the end of the interview now. I like to ask my guests, what is some type of advice or inspiration you'd like to leave with the listeners who are entrepreneurs or dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur one day? Just, one piece of advice that you found was super critical to your journey and that someone else could find very useful to theirs.
This might sound very cliche, but I keep using it because I do it all the time. I just keep going, like I just keep swimming, like from the movie Finding Dory, just keep swimming, because you're going to hit some troubled waters. You're going to hit some still waters. You're going to hit some, some waves and some all kinds of hurricanes and whatever. But if you make up in your mind that this is what you want to do and you have no choice but to be successful, you will find a way to be successful. So just keep going, having faith in your dreams and your vision and where you want it to go, and swim upstream, swim downstream, backstroke, left stroke, whatever you have to do to keep on going. That's my only advice. Once you make up in your mind, this is exactly what you want to do, and this is who you want to be, and this is who your business wants to grow into. Go in with the mentality that you don't have a choice but to keep going. And until you're successful and until you're comfortable with your success, you just have to keep on going.
Agreed. Very, very much agreed. Thank you so much for being here with us, Danielle, for doing the most, the misadventures of entrepreneurship. And, we'll definitely catch you around. Guys, if you want to check her out, her information will be in the caption and comment section. And stay tuned to hear more about Danielle in the future.
Thank you so much. And this was awesome.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Doing the Most. Catch us here next week, same time, same place. If you can't wait, head on over to doingthemost.xyz to stay connected. Until next time, keep on doing.